Ever wonder what it really takes to fix a city's trash problem? I mean, for real? It's a question a lot of us have probably thought about. Well, today, we're diving into this incredible story that shows exactly how a community can go from just noticing an issue to building a powerful, long-lasting system to solve it. This is a journey from awareness to true governance.
Right? It's a question that could apply to pretty much any town or city. You see a problem with waste, you want to fix it. But where do you even begin? Is it as simple as just adding more bins on the street corner or writing a bunch of new rules? As we're about to see, the real answer is a whole lot more complex, and honestly, way more inspiring.
The journey we're about to follow, it starts with something incredibly simple. People just talking to each other. But, and this is the important part, it doesn't stop there. It grows and evolves into a durable, really well-managed system. This is the story of how a local campaign can create real, lasting environmental change. Okay, so first things first. To really get the solution, we've got to understand the problem. And our story today takes place in Giza, Egypt.
So, like so many growing cities around the world, Giza was up against a serious waste challenge. And here's the critical point. Just throwing some money or a few new trucks at the problem, well, that almost never works in the long run. Without a structured plan that actually involves the community, most of these initiatives are just temporary fixes. They're like Band-Aids. And that brings us to the real starting point of this whole transformation. It wasn't some top-down government decree. Nope, it was a conversation.
So where did the change actually begin? Not with some grand government plan, but right here, in community seminars. The initiative was smart. It strategically focused on women because they recognized the central role they play in managing households. The goal wasn't to force a solution onto people, but to build a sense of responsibility from the ground up. And this was way more than just a one-off event. It was a full-blown campaign. They held workshops for the general public, they brought the message into schools to get young people engaged, and of course, they ran those really focused seminars for women's groups. The whole point was to make environmental responsibility a shared value, something the entire community could get behind. But look, awareness by itself isn't enough, right? To make a real difference, people need the tools and the knowledge to actually act on it. And that's where the system really starts to take shape. The first, most critical action they taught was something called waste segregation. It sounds a little technical, but it's a super simple idea. You separate your trash right there in your own home. This single habit is the absolute foundation of any recycling system that actually works, because it keeps all the valuable materials from getting contaminated and thrown away.
And the key to their whole approach was simplicity. They didn't have a bunch of complicated rules. Instead, they just focused on two main categories: solid waste, stuff like glass and plastic, and organic waste, like food scraps. This made it so easy for everyone to get on board, and it removed one of the biggest barriers to getting people to participate. Of course, the community couldn't pull this off all alone. This amazing transformation was powered by a really smart collaboration. You had the Egyptian Association for Scientific and Environmental Research leading the charge with community engagement. Then you had the National Ministry of Environment providing policy support. And finally, the local Giza Governorate was handling the on-the-ground implementation. This kind of teamwork is what really multiplies the impact.
And right here, you can see that collaboration in action. The Clean City campaign, it wasn't just a slogan, they provided the actual tools for change. Distributing these new waste bins all across the neighborhoods was a visible, tangible sign that this initiative was for real. It empowered residents to put all that new knowledge into practice every single day.
So we've got awareness, we've got new behaviors, and we've got the tools. The big question now is, how does all of this come together to create something that actually lasts?
This brings us to the core framework they built, which you can almost think of like a governance ladder. It all starts with awareness. That's step one. That awareness then fuels behavior change. People actually start separating their trash. That's step two. Then that individual action gets a huge boost from collaboration with institutions. That's step three. And only when all those pieces are working together in harmony do you reach the top step, a true sustainable environmental governance system. You see, each step makes the next one possible.
So, what can we all take away from Giza's success story? Well, the impact goes way beyond just having cleaner streets.
What's so powerful here is seeing how these local actions connect directly to global goals. By reducing pollution and improving how waste is managed, this project didn't just clean up Giza. It directly contributed to the bigger fight against climate change. It's proof that small, community-driven changes can have a real, measurable impact on a global scale.
So if we look back, we can really pull out 4 crucial lessons from this whole process. First, awareness has to lead to something bigger, a structured system. Second, real long-term success only happens when the community is deeply involved. Third, when institutions work together, their impact isn't just added, it's multiplied. And finally, a system like this isn't a set it and forget it kind of deal. It needs continuous monitoring to keep working.
And really, it all comes down to this powerful idea. Change starts with us, in our own homes and our own neighborhoods. But for that change to last for generations, it has to be supported by a smart, well-designed system. It's a perfect lesson from Giza on how to build a cleaner future together.